Thunder rolls across the misty Scottish Highlands. A lone figure stands on a cliff, staring at the stormy horizon. In the distance, shadows move through the fog, carrying secrets that could change everything. Some stories are written in blood, and some battles are inherited from the past. This is the story of a family bound by love, haunted by secrets, and challenged by a world that refuses to forgive. Welcome to Outlander. Blood of my blood. The wind howls across the rugged mountains, tearing at the heather and rattling the old, wooden gates of a lonely castle. A single horse gallops across the stone path, its hooves striking sparks from the wet cobblestones, echoing like distant drums of war. The sky darkens, clouds swirling as if the heavens themselves are preparing for the storm to come. On the horizon, the silhouette of a figure becomes visible, wrapped in a cloak, standing tall despite the gale. This is no ordinary journey. 'Tis the beginning of a destiny written long before anyone could remember. A voice whispers, carrying the weight of generations when the past calls. Destiny answers. It drifts through the mist, soft yet commanding, as if the land itself knows the trials that are about to unfold. Trees sway violently, and somewhere in the distance the sound of a wolf echoes, sharp and haunting. It is a warning and a promise all at once. The figure takes a step forward. The camera pans down to the rugged terrain below, jagged rocks, rushing streams and shadows that move like ghosts. Each step is heavy, not just with the weight of leather and steel, but with the burden of coast toad, and with the burden of family, honor, and secrets that refuse to stay buried. The first rays of sunlight break through the storm clouds, revealing glimpses of the land that is both beautiful and treacherous. Ancient castles rise from the hills, their stones worn by time, their walls holding whispers of battles fought and lost. A distant fire flickers, sending orange sparks into the gray sky, hinting at a danger that has not yet arrived but is always near. This is a world where every choice matters, where every glance can betray a hidden truth, and where love and loyalty are tested by forces beyond control. As the figure moves closer to the castle, the camera lingers on close-ups. A clenched fist, a weathered sword, a letter fluttering in the wind. Each detail tells a story, a fragment of the larger tale that is about to unfold. The music swells, deep and ominous, a blend of strings and distant drums that seem to echo the heartbeat of the land itself. Text appears on screen, some bloodlines cannot be broken. It fades in slowly, leaving a lingering sense of foreboding. Shadows gather on the walls of the castle, hinting at unseen eyes, watching, waiting. The figure reaches the entrance and pauses, hand on the heavy wooden door, feeling the pulse of the history within. The camera slowly pulls back, showing the expanse of the highlands, the storm, and the journey that lies ahead. The land is alive with whispers of the past, urging the figure forward, calling them to face trials that will define who they are and what they will become. Every gust of wind, every crack of thunder, every flicker of light tells the audience that this is more than a story. It is a journey across time, loyalty, and blood. The first section ends with a long, slow shot of the figure disappearing into the castle, the storm raging around them, and the text overlay. The past is never truly gone. It waits for you. It's just the beginning, a prelude to the secrets, betrayals, and battles that will shape everything in Outlander. Blood of my blood. Darkness creeps across the highlands, carrying whispers of betrayal and danger. A cold mist winds its way through the valleys, curling around ancient stone walls and abandoned watchtowers. The air is heavy, thick with secrets that refuse to be silenced. Far off, the sound of clashing metal echoes like a warning. The camera glides over the rugged terrain, twisted trees, steep cliffs, and narrow paths that hide more than they reveal, hinting at enemies unseen but always near. Text fades in on screen. Family, loyalty, betrayal. Each word lingers like a heartbeat, setting the tone for the storm about to unfold. The wind carries the Faint smell of smoke and iron, signals of a land constantly on edge. Quick flashes show glimpses of swords striking, torches flickering, and horses sprinting through the mist. Each cut is fast, yet deliberate, giving the audience a sense of urgency and danger. The voiceover cuts through the tension. In a world where trust is fragile, every step could be your last. The focus shifts to the unseen characters' hands gripping weapons. Cloaks rustling as they move silently through forests, eyes scanning every shadow. A letter flutters in the wind, caught on a branch. As it spins slowly to the ground, the camera lingers on its words. The past will claim what is rightfully. Nearby, a distant campfire burns, surrounded by figures huddled in whispered conversation. The audience can't see their faces, but the tension in their posture, the tight fists, and the sharp glances speak volumes. Suddenly, a horn sounds in the distance, deep and resonant, shaking the mist from the hills. Horses rear and gallop across the valley, kicking up clouds of dust and fog. The music rises low, urgent, with the steady pulse of drums and the wail of a distant horn. Text overlays punctuate the rhythm. Every choice has a price. Every secret will be revealed. Every bond will be tested. The unseen forces closing in. The camera cutting between sweeping landscapes and close-ups of small but significant details, a sword's hilt, a dagger pressed into bark, a hand trembling as it touches a locket. The voiceover grows more intense, almost a whisper carried by the wind. The world will push them to the edge, and only the brave will survive. Loyalties will crumble, alliances will fracture, and the line between friend and foe will blur. A distant shadow moves across a hilltop and the camera follows, gliding like a ghost above the terrain. The audience feels the weight of the land, the history etched into every stone, and the inevitability of the conflict rising. The scene slows. For a moment, rain beginning to fall in heavy sheets, turning the earth to mud and the paths to rivers. Text appears again. In the shadows, destiny waits. The section closes on a panoramic shot of the Highland storm clouds rolling, fires flickering in the distance, and figures moving through the mist. The tension is palpable. The audience knows that the next step will be perilous, that the choices made now will echo through generations. Asterisk, a single torch flickers against the darkness, casting long, wavering shadows on the cold stone walls of tone. Walls of tone. Walls of an ancient fortress. The wind howls through broken windows, carrying with it whispers of the past, stories of battles fought, promises broken, and sacrifices made. Every step echoes in the empty corridors, a reminder that even in silence, the land remembers. The camera pans slowly over hands gripping leather straps, fingers tightening around the hilts of worn swords, and eyes, though unseen, burning with determination. Courage isn't loud here. 'Tis quiet, hidden in the strength to move forward. When everything seems against you, text overlays pulse on the screen. Courage will be tested. Each word lingers, a heartbeat, a warning, a promise. Quick flashes show movement boots on stone floors, cloaks flowing as figures navigate the shadows, and glimpses of letters, maps, and heirlooms clutched tightly. The voiceover cuts through. The storm outside, heroes are not born. They're forged in fire, shaped by choices no one else can make. The camera lingers on small details, a hand brushing over a locket, a dagger catching the dim light, a faint scar on a wrist. Fragment tells a story without ever showing a face. The highlands beyond the fortress are alive with tension. Horses gallop through fog-choked valleys, their hooves drumming a warning. Figures move with precision, silently communicating through gestures, their loyalty clear in every action. A distant horn signals the approach of enemies, and the camera cuts to close-up shields clashing, the flare of a torch, a cloak whipping violently in the wind. Text appears mid-scene. Every bond will be tested. The land itself seems to conspire with the drama. Cliffs towering, rivers rushing, clouds tumbling across the sky as if echoing the turmoil below. Suddenly, a glimmer of intimacy pierces the tension. A folded letter rests on a weathered table, its seal broken. A hand hovers over it, trembling slightly. The voiceover softens, almost a whisper, bound by blood, driven by love, haunted by the past. Quick flashes show the stakes. A horse whinnying in fear, a torch extinguished by a sudden gust, and a figure crouching low as shadowy threats pass by unseen. Music swells, strings soaring and drums pounding, signaling that every moment carries weight. Then a subtle cut, a hand reaching for a sword. The light catching a tear glistening on a sleeve reminds the audience that courage is never without fear, and every action carries consequence. The section closes with a sweeping aerial shot over the Highlands. The fortress below now engulfed in both storm and firelight. Shadows stretch across the valleys and text fades in slowly. In the heart of darkness, courage finds its face, even if it is unseen. The voiceover concludes, lingering in the silence left by the fading storm. In a world of secrets and betrayal, their strength will decide the fate of generations. The mist thickens, crawling over cliffs and through narrow valleys, hiding both allies and enemies in its gray shroud. Every sound is amplified, the snap of a branch, the distant rush of water. The soft scrape of boots on stone reminding the viewer that danger lurks in every corner. Shadows twist and shift as if alive, hinting at unseen forces that move with intent. The camera glides over jagged rocks, abandoned battlefields, and forests scarred by fire, painting a land shaped by blood and secrets. The world feels alive, restless and merciless, as if it itself is testing the characters' courage and resolve. Text appears slowly, fading in like a warning. Every choice has a price. The words hang in the fog as the voiceover cuts through. Deep and tense in the Highlands. Trust is fragile, and the line between friend and foe blurs with every heartbeat. Quick, dramatic flashes reveal fleeting glimpses of the coming storm, a sword catching the dim light, a cloak torn by wind, and a figure disappearing behind twisted trees. Each detail builds tension, giving the audience the sense that every step forward could be their last. The music rises low, urgent drums, punctuated by sharp strings mirroring the thundering pulse of approaching conflict, hidden in the shadows. Plans unfold. Hands pass messages through the dark, letters exchanged quietly, and maps are traced with fingers trembling in fear and anticipation. The camera lingers on close-ups. A dagger pressed into bark, a hand brushing over a locket, and the glint of a sword ready for battle. Text overlays punctuate the rhythm of the story. Every secret will be revealed. Every betrayal will leave a scar. Every bond will be tested. The stakes rise with each passing second, and the audience feels the tension mounting, knowing that survival depends on sharp wits as much as on courage. Suddenly, the storm hits. Rain lashes against stone walls and rivers swell with violent force. Lightning splits the sky, illuminating figures and fleeting flashes as they move through the chaos. The camera cuts between sweeping aerial shots of valleys under the storm and extreme close-ups of hands gripping swords, horses rearing, and cloaks whipping violently in the wind. The voiceover intensifies. The fight for survival begins now. Every ally could be an enemy. Every step could lead to your doom. Damn. And the past always finds a way to catch you. The music crescendos into a surge of strings, percussion, and haunting whispers, amplifying the sense of imminent danger. As the scene reaches its peak, the camera slows on a final shot, a lone figure standing at the edge of a cliff, rain soaking. Their cloak eyes, though unseen, fixed on the distant horizon where firelight flickers. Text appears boldly. In the heart of chaos, only the brave endure. The voiceover echoes, soft but foreboding. Survival is not given. It is fought. For clawed from the darkness and earned in blood. The screen fades to black, leaving only the sound of wind and the faint pulse of drums. A promise that the battle's secrets and heartbreaks are far from over. Asterisk rain drips from the high cliffs, falling in rhythm on the stone pathways of an ancient fortress. Shadows stretch long and distorted, hinting at lives intertwined by fate, yet torn apart by circumstance. The camera glides through hallways where letters lie scattered, each one a silent testament to promises made and broken. A hand hovers over a locket, fingers trembling slightly as the wind pushes open a window and carries the faintest echo of laughter, memories of a family once whole, now fragmented by secrets and time. Every detail whispers the weight of love, and the burden of loyalty. Text slowly fades in. Blood binds us, even when it separates us. The words pulse like a heartbeat, and the voiceover follows, soft but charged with emotion. Love is not always gentle. Loyalty is not always rewarded. And sometimes the ties that hold us together are the very chains that threaten to break us. Quick flashes reveal fleeting moments of intimacy. A hand brushing against a familiar object. A candle flickering against the shadows. The faint outline of a figure pausing in grief. The audience feels the tension not through faces, but through gestures, movement, and what is left unsaid. Outside, the highlands churn in storm and mist. Horses bolt through the fields, splashing through streams swollen with rain, their movements echoing the chaos within hearts and homes. Cloaks whip violently in the wind as figures navigate treacherous paths, carrying letters, weapons, and memories that weigh heavier than any pack. The camera lingers on the smallest details, a tear falling onto parchment, a dagger pressed close to a hand, a shadow of a figure frozen in hesitation. Each moment tells a story of sacrifice, of choices that haunt the soul long after the battle is over. The voiceover rises, a whisper carried on the wind. In the darkest nights, courage is born from love. Every decision, every risk is for those who cannot fight for themselves. Every act of bravery is stitched with the pain of leaving someone behind. Text overlays appear rhythmically with the storm. Every heart will be tested. Every bond will bleed. Every secret will shape the future. Music swells into a haunting melody of strings and soft percussion, mirroring the rising emotional stakes. Then, lightning illuminates a figure reaching for a sword, pausing for a heartbeat to look toward the horizon. Though unseen, their determination is unmistakable, a silent promise that no matter the cost, love and loyalty will guide their path. The section closes on a panoramic shot of the highlands under a clearing storm. Mist curling over cliffs and rivers reflecting the dim light of dawn. Text appears slowly, bound by blood, guided by heart, tested by fate. The voiceover whispers one final lingering line. Even in the shadows, love finds its way. Even in the chaos, loyalty survives. The screen fades to black, leaving the audience suspended in anticipation, their hearts echoing the trials, sacrifices, and emotions that define Outlander. Blood of my blood. Asterisk lightning cracks across the highlands, revealing fleeting glimpses of figures moving through the storm, silhouettes sharp against the rolling mist. The wind screams through the valleys, carrying the echoes of conflict, the clash of metal, the pounding of hooves, and the distant roar of flames consuming what was once safe and familiar. The camera sweeps over jagged cliffs, rushing rivers, and shadowed forests, capturing a world teetering on the edge of chaos. Every shadow hides a threat. Every flicker of light betrays a plan. Nothing is certain. Survival now belongs only to those who dare to face the storm. Text appears mid-scene, bold and urgent. The fight for survival begins. The voiceover cuts through, low and commanding. When the world turns against you, every ally can be a foe. Every step forward could be your last. And the past never forgets. Quick, sharp flashes punctuate the narrative, swords clashing in darkness. A torch igniting a hidden path, a hand reaching for a dagger just in time. Though faces remain unseen, every movement, every tension-filled pause tells a story of desperation, courage, and the unbreakable bonds forged under fire. The storm intensifies. Rain lashes down in sheets, rivers overflow, and the ground turns to mud beneath the pounding hooves of horses. The camera alternates between sweeping aerial views of the battlefield and extreme close-ups. Fingers tightening on leather straps, cloaks flailing violently in the wind, and shadows dancing across walls as unseen enemies approach. Text overlays appear like warnings. Every choice can change fate. Every secret can ignite war. Every heartbeat could be the last. The orchestral music soars, heavy with percussion and tense strings, creating a rhythm that matches the pulse of survival itself. Suddenly, fire erupts on the horizon, casting long, flickering shadows across the highlands. The camera captures a lone figure standing atop a cliff, sword raised, silhouetted against the inferno. Another figure moves silently through the chaos below, ends gripping the hilt of a dagger, cloak plastered to their body by rain. Text flashes. On screen, only the brave endure. The voiceover echoes one final time, fierce and haunting, in the heart of darkness. Strength is measured not by might alone, but by the courage to face what must be done. And in the end, only the blood that binds will tell the truth. The section closes with a dramatic slow-motion sweep. Storm clouds breaking above the burning highlands, rivers reflecting the firelight, and shadows racing across the valleys. Text lingers boldly. Survival is earned. Loyalty is tested. Destiny awaits. The music drops into a tense, almost silent heartbeat, leaving only the faint whisper of wind and distant thunder. The audience is left on the edge, knowing that the battles, betrayals, and secrets are far from over, and the ultimate confrontation is yet to come in Outlander. Blood of my blood, asterisk, the storm has passed, leaving the highlands drenched in mist and silence. Smoke curls from distant fires, and the first faint rays of dawn pierce through the clouds, cues illuminating the rugged landscape in ghostly light. The camera glides slowly over rivers, reflecting the fire, cliffs towering above valleys, and ancient stone ruins scarred by battles long fought. Every detail tells a story, even in the absence of faces. The weight of history, the echo of choices made, and the promise of struggles yet to come. Text fades in softly. The story continues. The voiceover cuts through, calm yet laden with gravity. The past is never truly gone. It waits, watching, shaping every step, and testing every heart. Quick flashes tease unresolved conflicts, a shadowy figure gripping a sword, a letter caught in the wind, a cloak disappearing into the fog.